they don't work on you, do they, Roland? The power you have to resist my podcast. Hello, everybody. It's Boy Party, and this week we're discussing 2017's adaptation of The Dark Tower. Hello. Welcome to Boy Party. My name is Lucian, and I'm joined as always by Shane. He's the dastardly sorcerer from the other side of a portal. I just realized this movie has portals.
It's a portal movie.
All right.
Okay, our energy is just gone.
We figured out
we got the angle on this.
We got the angle on this.
All right, let's get rolling.
Perfect. All right. No shade. Let's get it rolling.
Get it rolling.
Welcome to the Boy Party, the podcast about boys and their parties. This week we're discussing a classic film that everyone has seen. 27. This is one of those episodes where I'm going to start laughing immediately.
We're sorry. This isn't one of the good ones.
What was the last episode we did where I just burst out laughing at the idea that no one had seen the film?
Not Norbit.
It must have been something. No. Was it an Adam and Ben? It was an Adam and Ben, and it
Burt
was
Wonderstone, maybe?
No. It was an Adam Sandler film that no one had seen. It was one of the really stupid ones. Yeah. Anyway, so
so that's the level we're on today, guys.
That's the level we're on today. It's 10:30 at night. It's a bit silly.
It would be unfair to do The Dark Tower during the day.
Yeah, to be fair. Yeah, we also watched this film,
twisted movie,
7 weeks ago.
I think so.
Say. Yeah,
we didn't even watch it all.
Well, it's so long.
It's like 82 minutes.
It's so long. We get to watch.
Is it?
No, I'm joking. It's
like 82 minutes.
It's like 100 minutes.
Okay, we watched
we do. I've seen it twice though.
Yes.
So everybody, The Dark Tower, 2017. It is the only film adaptation of Stephen King's legendary book series. I remember seeing The Dark Tower in the bookshop when I was younger and thinking, this looked catastrophe. I remember seeing this book in the shop when I was younger and thinking, that's a cool name for a book, The Dark Tower.
Dark Tower.
I do like tower based things. Tower Heist, the two towers, the twin towers, the Leaning Tower.
Looming Tower.
Oh, the Looming Tower. Yeah, that's a good name. So there's 8 Dark Tower novels, 1 novella, and a children's book, all written by Stephen King, about a gunslinger and his quest towards a tower, the nature of which is both physical and metaphorical. And it ties in with a lot of other of King's novels. He identifies Lord of the Rings, Arthurian legend, and Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns as his influences, and the man with no name character that Eastwood plays in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is a major inspiration for the protagonist Roland. So it is a Western fantasy. It is sort of Lord of the Rings meets Clint Eastwood.
I think that,
how shit does that sound?
I think the director of this saw those 3 descriptions and kind of just didn't go any further.
Yeah,
he was all right, there you go.
He was like, that is enough.
That's enough.
Now people were trying to make films of this for so many years. J.J. Abrams started to try and make it in 2007 with Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. They spent lots of money on trying to get the rights to it. And he was trying to make it for years. That didn't work out. Then Ron Howard got his hands on it in 2010. They tried to do it as film. They tried to do it as TV. This obviously had very cinematic vibes, and people were trying to get it off the ground as a film or as a TV thing for years. Now, just before this, they made there's this other Stephen King novel called The Stand, which is I think also doesn't have Roland in it, but it does have. Sorry, The Stand came out after this. Doesn't have Roland in it, but it does have a very similar kind of gunslinger character, and that was adapted in the 1990s by CBS, and then it was done again in 2020. It turns out, I thought it was before this film, with Alexander Skarsgård as the gunslinger character, and James Marsden and Owen Teague. And
so it's a real film.
We're in it too. It was a CBS miniseries. Yeah. So this side of Stephen King, obviously Stephen King's written stuff like The Shining, and he's written stuff like Under the Dome, and he's written It, and a lot of his stuff has been adapted very successfully in film and TV because he's written so many fucking books. There was a resurgence in the 2010s, I'd say, of Stephen King adaptations where Under the Dome got made, a show I watched every episode of. A lot of Roland, the power you have to resist my magic's energy in that show, yes. I would say. Dean Norris becomes the mayor because he has control of a magic egg that screams, and it's just a ridiculous show.
It is a Stephen King thing, isn't it?
Which
It
is a Stephen
It
King
is
thing,
Stephen
and then
King,
it comes
yeah.
out. So the funniest thing about this film is that this film is released on let's have a look, August 4th, 2017,
Yeah.
and on September 7th, 2017, it is released and makes, I don't know, probably 10 times more money at least.
Yeah.
It is a like $1 billion film basically. This barely makes its budget back, and it is funny to me that Stephen King just like is able to so quickly brush this one under the carpet.
And the different studios are the same studio.
No, they're different. This is Sony, and it was Warner, and this has big Sony vibes. This is the most
energy.
Sony film ever made.
Oh wow!
Like,
this is all star, no substance.
All Star No Substance. Sony are such big fans of just the All Star No Substance formula. What were we talking about last week? Passengers. Literally, we just did this. Passengers and
we can't be doing two Sonys in a row.
no. By the time this comes out, hopefully it's been a few weeks.
Fair.
But so this ends up anyway with Sony, and Ron Howard does stay on as producer. He did produce this with Akiva Goldsman. Akiva Goldsman wrote this, although the script was rewritten a few times. Akiva Goldsman obviously is, or not so obviously, is one of the most successful screenwriters of the 90s and 2000s. He wrote, he wrote A Beautiful Mind. He wrote I Am Legend, The Da Vinci Code, I, Robot, Batman Forever, Practical Magic, Angels and Demons, Cinderella Man. He's a big Ron Howard collaborator. And then he writes The Dark Tower, although his script is seemingly been rewritten or something because there's a bunch of writers credited on it. And it is directed by a Danish guy called Nikolai Arcel. And he had just come off of making a very successful 2012 period drama called A Royal Affair with Mads Mikkelsen and Alicia Vikander, the two most famous Danish actors of currently alive, I would say. And it looks like an absolute snooze. It's just based on Danish history. And like, with all the respect in the world, I've been to Denmark 3 times. I have seen Mads Mikkelsen in a lot of films. I find them to be a deeply boring country and actor, respectively. And it doesn't. It
Probably just functions a bit too well over there to be any real.
Yeah, it's just
any real issues.
Like, if a country's big export films are fucking royal period dramas set 200 years ago with nice costumes, and they never seem to produce any kind of. Now I'm about to get corrected by some annoying listener who's about to say, but they put out great films like Another Round, a modern film with so much modernity and all this, and I'm going to reply to you that I think that film is bad and boring, and Mads Mikkelsen is one of the most overrated actors of his generation. And I actually get very annoyed when he shows up and stuff because I think he's a very boring actor. Sorry about that. Sorry to disappoint everybody. Like, Mads Mikkelsen makes Christoph Waltz look like a very exciting and dynamic actor.
I am quite glad Mads Mikkelsen is not in The Dark Tower.
Oh, thank God. It's surprising to me that Mads Mikkelsen doesn't play the Man in Black in this, the Matthew McConaughey character, because he could show up and be like, hello, I'm doing a Russian accent obviously, but like 12 points to Roland.
Welcome to Boy Vision.
This is the gag Shane was doing before we started recording.
Yes,
you're only getting snippets
the
of
boy
it now.
part of Eurovision.
So that's
DJ Crazy Time.
Yes, so that's the background. That's the background of how this film gets made. So now, Shane, tell me what this film is about.
Right. Well, there's a kid.
Yes.
And he lives in New York.
Jake, played by Tom Taylor.
And he's a bit sick. He's a bit twisted.
Yeah. He draws scary things.
He does scary drawings. Like drawings where people look at them and they go, ah!
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, that's a scary drawing.
Yeah.
And
put that thing away.
Put that thing away.
Yeah.
And anyway, he thinks the drawings are real.
Yes.
And he can see them.
They're based on whatever, like visions.
Yeah, they're based on his visions. Whatever. The parents probably thinks he has schizophrenia or mental health issues, and they're sending him to various therapists. And
there's like a mom.
His stepdad is getting angry at him because
there's a mom and there's a stepdad who looks like fucking Travis Kelce, who's like, come on, son, you be a real man. Like he's Alan Richardson.
Stop drawing, go throw a ball. Kind of shit. Yeah, and then I don't really know what happens next. He just like jumps through a portal or something, and then he's in a wasteland desert kind of thing, and he meets
Roland.
He meets Roland, who's Idris Elba.
Mm-hmm.
And like whatever they're doing kind of just becomes a snooze for the rest of the film, because they're just like trekking through the desert and sitting at campfires chatting, and he's a kid and he doesn't talk much, and he's Idris Elba and he also doesn't talk much because he's a very stoic cowboy. So you just completely tune out when they're talking, so you don't get any of the exposition. Meanwhile, Matthew McConaughey is wearing like a very cool black suit, has his hair all curled and gelled up, and he's doing this very kind of sexy alien cowboy
sexy
thing.
Alien. He's able to cast.
He's being a magician.
He's a magician. He's a magician. He creates little spells with his little fingers. Now, he's referred to in the film exclusively as the Man in Black.
Yeah.
His character has a name, and his character's name is Walter O'Dim.
Walter O'Dim.
Like O'Dim. That's not a name.
Like O'Dim, like O''.
Yes.
Oh, he's Irish.
He's Irish.
Walter
O'Dim.
Walter O'Dim.
Do what you do, Walter O'Dim. So, he basically shows up in a bunch of scenes, and he's able to, I don't know, like stop bullets with his hands.
Yeah, it's undefined what he can do. Like
he does. Where does he work? Does he work in the Dark Tower or just in another headquarters?
I don't. Oh, there's another building, isn't there?
Yeah, do they go to the Dark Tower, or is there another tower?
No, there seems to be like another building that shoots lasers into the Dark Tower or something.
Wait, did they ever go to the Dark Tower?
I don't think so.
It's on the poster.
Yeah, it's just kind of there. It's like the spire in Dublin. You can't really go to it. Like
it's almost as if they have portals beside it.
It's almost as if.
So,
sorry. The film opens with like a load of children being sucked into machines, and then a laser shoots at the Dark Tower.
Yes. So they're using children as mulch to feed the machines.
Sorry, the other thing about this is that everyone in the Dark Man's office is like a rat who wears a human costume.
They have like furry faces and they wear human masks.
Yeah, and they get mad at them when they're like not in their human faces.
Yes.
They're like, put your face on.
Yes. And Academy Award nominee Jackie Earle Haley, star of Todd Field's Little Children, he shows up as like a kind of a secondary antagonist. He's like a little scary guy who's like, I don't know, he's some sort of industrialist from the Matthew McConaughey school, and he just kind of lurks around and gets into some fights.
Matthew McConaughey is being very silly in this, and it's the only thing that keeps it interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun role.
Or he's like...
Like, when does Matthew McConaughey ever get to do performances like this? He's either in straight up comedies or he's in like super pious shite, like, you know,
Dallas Buyers Club kind of stuff.
Like which?
What, Dallas Buyers Club?
Like, like Interstellar and True Detective.
Oh yeah,
the stuff where he's like, time is moving at this pace.
But like he's kind of doing that in this, but it's like
he's doing it in this.
He's not meant to be taken seriously.
He's making magic, and he's wearing a funny coat. So you're like, ooh, I like this.
Yeah,
it's like he kind of fit in The Incredible Burt Wonderstone.
Yes, he's a magician.
Yeah,
he's doing a magician act.
Like he's obviously, these actors have obviously watched Lord of the Rings just before filming has begun. And Idris Elba's like, I'm gonna do my best. Oh, I'm gonna do my best Viggo Mortensen impression. And Matthew McConaughey is like, ooh, I'm gonna try and do a little hybrid of everybody.
There is unfortunately nothing more boring in Hollywood than Idris Elba in the wilderness.
No, it's the worst. Oh, it's truly.
What's that film where he's stuck in a mountain?
Oh, The Mountain Between Us. That's a boy party. There's Beast, where he fights the lion out in the jungle.
No, put that man on an airplane. Put him in a city.
Put him on an airplane. I want him in the Suicide Squad, where he's bickering with Margot Robbie. Like,
name him Brixton.
Yes, name him Brixton. Like, I like Idris Elba so much.
I think he's a cool
very
guy.
Specific uses. You know, he's really good in Hijack and in the Suicide Squad, and not really in anything else. Hobbs and Shaw is a good use of him. It's just a very badly written film.
Yeah.
So he has to say a lot of stupid shit, and take part in a lot of silly scenes. But no, the like Matthew McConaughey in this is really leaning into the Jared Leto-ness of the role. This is such a Jared Leto performance, and you realize that now obviously these guys, you know, won Oscars for the same film and have worked together. But you realize that they're not that different. They're kind of similar guys. It's just that Matthew McConaughey is just a little bit more folksy and Texan, and Jared Leto is like, oh, I fucking hang out in Berlin half the year because I'm so, you know, Jesus-y.
I don't know. I feel like I know what Matthew McConaughey is when he's just hanging out. Like,
I know what Jared Leto is too. He's fucking boring, but he's pretending to be mysterious.
Yeah, but I think McConaughey is interesting in real life. I think he's like
maybe.
I think he'd be a fun guy to hang out with.
Sure.
Whereas Jared Leto would just probably be on his phone.
Yeah, he would be. Matthew McConaughey's like political aspirations are the most off-putting thing about him. Like,
he'd tell you better stories than Jared
Leto.
Oh,
for sure. He'd definitely have good stories. Yeah. So all there is to talk about with this movie is these two actors and how they exist in relation to each other.
Some of this is in New York, I guess. That's kind of the most interesting.
The interesting bits are in New York. The boring bits are in Magic Dark Tower.
Yeah, I don't get the world here because like you have McConaughey who can do all the magic and stop bullets, and then you have Idris Elba and all he has is a gun.
Yeah. So all they can do is just fire bullets back and forth like that. I wrote a review of this on my blog when it came out in 2017, and I said at 94 minutes, The Dark Tower feels like the longest film of the year. I said it works pretty well to start off with as a sort of a dark children's adventure of the Return to Oz and Never-Ending Story variety. And I would agree with that. I like the idea, the fact that the kid is like in an apartment in New York doing scary drawings and the parents are like, oh, he's so disturbed. Like that's a really good setup for a film to me. Like that's a film where you're like, oh man, he's going to go into like a cool dream fantasy world. 20
he doesn't though. His world is remarkably boring.
You think it's going to be like Labyrinth or it's going to be like Return to Oz. And instead, he just goes to like fucking desert world.
Yeah, all the fun actually happens in New York.
And all the fun happens in New York where he's being chased. There's portals and there's people chasing. There's like some goon guy who chases him.
Yeah.
Maybe like a guy with a rat face. I don't know. Maybe Jackie Earle Haley's in New York. Oh, if only we'd watched this today. And some of them are chasing him around. And there's,
look, you listeners, you might give out to us for not properly researching this, but we are completely justified in not paying attention to these things. We don't watch it.
It is completely
trash.
It has been cut down so.
But it did have one funny line, so we were like, "Oh, we have to do it."
Yeah, exactly. And it is a modern flop with two very famous actors on the poster, the exact same size, standing beside each other, and that means that we have to do it. We have no choice.
We don't, and we want to talk about these two actors.
The score by Junkie XL. Any good? I don't remember it being so. I do really like the way that McConaughey says Roland. I think it's really fun.
Magics.
Apparently the budget of this was only 66 million.
Honestly, this is the kind of film that just skies its way to 150 out of nowhere.
It did 113. Like
really,
these Sony movies can't not make some money.
There's just a very high the star strategy just
it buys
has
you
a floor,
something like
yeah.
But like these aren't necessarily guys who will buy you money by default, in my opinion. I don't know. I think if you release a film in August with CGI stuff and a bit of a fantasy element and you target it very, very directly at young teenage boys, I think you can kind of just scrape in a bit of cash just from like
there's definitely sufficient evidence from probably 20 years of doing this where you can probably come up with a good estimate of what it's going to pull. Like your Sorcerer's Apprentice nonsense from
Sorcerer's Apprentice like famously lost money as far as I know. The difference is the Sorcerer's Apprentice cost about 200 million and this cost 66 million. Because the Sorcerer's Apprentice wasted money hiring Nicolas Cage, who was at the time very expensive and probably had to get paid 15-20 million and probably got back end, and they had to buy out the fucking Sorcerer's Apprentice IP and all this shit. Whereas these guys, they already they owned the fucking book rights. They Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba are kind of affordable, even though McConaughey is an Oscar winner.
What, they would have got 3 to 5?
It's hard to know. I'd say McConaughey, Oscar, 5. I'm pulling these numbers out of nowhere. 5 million, and Idris Elba gets 3 or 4. I would like to get some confirmation on that before I say it on this podcast, but I'm going to have to do a quick Google search. Don't think I'm going to get any answers there. McConaughey, God, he was getting paid 15 million when he was in stuff like Sahara. Oh my God.
Ooh.
No, it's hasn't been reported how much they got paid for this. Although I see here,
I feel like all information about this film was just wiped.
The vault. Yeah, exactly. So, have you a guess of whose films have made more money, Idris Elba or Matthew McConaughey? Also, can you tell me, I mean, you won't be able to tell me this, but does Idris Elba have an Oscar nomination? No,
I don't think so. No.
But he was in the Mandela movie, so he got close. He got a Golden Globe
Which
nomination. One? Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. The one with the U2 song. That came out like the month Mandela died. Very conveniently timed. No, he's got no Oscar nominations. That's a bummer for him. But he is a DJ.
He is a DJ.
And that's cooler.
We were at a festival he was DJing at.
But I was at a different
I saw him actually.
Did you see him?
I saw him at Coachella.
You saw Idris Elba at Coachella?
I didn't see him. It was a very dark room, but I think he was DJing when I was in the room.
Okay.
I think I wandered in and he was doing his set.
That's the kind of shit we should talk about on this podcast.
Yeah. We've been in close proximity to Idris Elba. I wonder how... But then again, Matthew McConaughey also has a very fun story about a pub we go to.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
So apparently, Matthew McConaughey came to Dublin, and he went to the Hacienda Speakeasy that we're very big fans of, and he liked it so much that he moved in upstairs for a year. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that everything I just said is true, but I believe that some of it is true. I think elements may have been stretched slightly by the person who told me.
Very realistic. He was definitely at the pub.
Definitely. Because famous people are always at the pub.
Olivia Rodrigo was there.
Olivia Rodrigo was there last week.
It'd be very funny if she moved in upstairs for a year.
That would be so funny.
That would be very funny.
But I think
it was like ASAP Rocky or someone was there one day.
Sure, there's always randomers there.
Yeah,
but like if you told me Ed Sheeran lived upstairs for a year, I'd be like, absolutely, of course he did.
It was like 6 photos of him.
But there's no evidence. I've never seen any evidence that Matthew McConaughey spent significant time in Dublin.
Yeah,
I've never seen photos of him hanging out in Dublin. Nobody in Dublin has stories about meeting Matthew McConaughey, and there's no reason he'd ever come here. He's never made a film here, so I'm finding it very odd.
Do we have like? I was going to say, could we find a gap in his filmography when he just didn't shoot Anthem for a year?
But like, I just feel
but again,
like
he could be here and then shoot off for a couple of weeks.
If he had lived in Dublin,
I guess we just have to ask.
His father's name was James Donald McConaughey, who had Irish roots.
I guess we just have to ask Mr. Man himself someday.
The guy in the guy in the bar. Yeah, he said he wanted to send his kids to the Gaeltacht. He said that in 2016. His mother was called Kathleen McCabe. Cavan Monaghan descent, New Jersey woman.
Fair enough.
So he is legit Irish, like.
Yeah.
McConaughey's not an Irish name though. That's the Scottish name. McConaughey. That's definitely Scottish.
Yeah.
The shape of that word doesn't scream Irish to me. Interesting actor who has one Oscar nomination and it was a win.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not that common. But maybe it is with the sort of the Rami Maleks of the world, and there's like people like this,
the kind of weird guys,
the guys who are TV actors who just manage to kind of push it over the line once into a big film role.
Guys who have a very distinct bit.
Yeah,
like,
where it's like most things that they're in are blockbusters, and then they do their thing in one prestige film, and they get their Oscar, but they don't have to get loads of nominations building up to it. It's interesting though that like DiCaprio gets dozens of nominations before he wins. Mm-hmm. McConaughey wins the first time a year before DiCaprio
There's definitely a sense that like these guys are just like never going to get a chance again.
Yeah,
that has to be it.
It must be. But I think with McConaughey as well, it was a funny one where they gave him that Oscar because he was so good on True Detective. Like,
yeah,
like it was it was just like one of these things where it was like the TV role was more important than the film.
Yeah, it was the best campaign he could have had.
Yeah. Like if let's say, I don't know, Jeremy Strong in 20 what was the year that Succession season 2 came out? 2019, right? If Jeremy Strong that year had been in a film that was like a big prestige fucking Weinstein Oscar movie, maybe they would have given him Best Actor because they'd be like, oh man, the work you've done this year, it's exceptional. Yeah. It was just an interesting case where prestige TV and the Oscars like overlapped 100%. And everyone knew he'd been cast in Interstellar and it was coming out soon, and there was just so much buzz about him. And then the reconnaissance as a phrase became so commonly used, and I don't think he deserved that Oscar, but I'm also not mad about it.
I'm happy he has an Oscar.
I'm happy he has an Oscar, and I think that film is okay. Sure, it's not the worst. So whose films have made more money?
Again, Idris Elba is probably one of these guys that has a sneaky voice acting in a children's movie credit. I'll go McConaughey just by pure quantity of films he's been in.
Matthew McConaughey's films have made $4.6 billion.
That's about right.
Idris Elba's films have made $13 billion. Because he, of course, famously plays a little character called Heimdall in Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Age of Ultron, Thor Ragnarok, Thor Love and Thunder, Thor the Dark World, and Thor.
Heimdall.
He plays Heimdall.
What is a Heimdall?
He's the guard of the gate of Asgard. He minds the gate. He wears a funny hat.
So that's what the 3 vegetarian sisters who sing make for dinner.
What? Who are you talking about?
Heimdall.
Oh, Heimdall. I wish I had
Buddy,
a
I just got a hook wrapped around my neck and I've been yanked off stage.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing with Idris Elba is that Marvel cast him too soon.
Yeah.
They fucked up.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
they
that's why I was
cast him
confused.
as Heimdall in Thor. They burned him, and then they couldn't cast him as Black Panther. They couldn't cast him as Killmonger in Black Panther. They couldn't cast him as any of their major black superheroes. They completely fucked themselves over, and they were stuck with him as Heimdall. So what did they do? Well, the most rational thing to do was give Heimdall a bigger role. So Heimdall has a slightly bigger role in Ragnarok, and then he pops up in Infinity War. But I mean, I don't remember him being in Age of Ultron. I think he's in a dream sequence in that. I think he is like 15th on the cast. He is definitely in Infinity War for one scene, the opening scene of the film where Loki murders him, and like those being the top films on his box office ranking is a bit silly.
Yeah,
but anyway,
like
he also
probably like didn't get paid that much for them.
No, I don't think so. So he's also in Finding Dory. He's in Zootopia. He's in the Jungle Book. These are all his billion-dollar films.
Good voice guy.
Then he's a great voice. Hobbs and Shaw.
Yep.
Pacific Rim, which is another. That's a really good use of him. That's the first thing I ever really liked him in.
Sure.
He plays a character called. You haven't seen Pacific Rim?
I haven't. No.
It's a movie, a Guillermo del Toro movie about giant robots that are built to punch kaiju.
Yes.
He plays a character called Stacker Pentecost. A role that was first offered to Mr. Tom Cruise. And his famous, iconic line that is in the trailer is, "Today, we are canceling the apocalypse." And people just went mad for this.
That is cool as shit.
People went mad for it. Good film. Great. He plays Knuckles in Sonic 2.
Yes, he does.
He of course pilots the spacecraft in the motion picture Prometheus. Mm-hmm. He is Kral in Star Trek Beyond. Kral, the villain. He wears a lot of prosthetics in that. He's a silly alien man. He plays Tango in American Gangster. He is in The Suicide Squad, a film that I'm inexplicably the Suicide Squad barely made more money than The Dark Tower. Bizarre. Because they dropped it in the middle of lockdown. Good film, and he's good in it. He's in Ghost Rider 2 as the devil, I think. Some sort of devil type. No, Peter Fonda plays the devil in those movies. He plays like some sort of demon villain character. And then The Dark Tower. Mm-hmm. And then Cats, where he plays McCavity opposite Taylor Swift.
Yes.
When she sings that brilliant song. McCavity. I don't remember any of the words of McCavity. But I remember it's like, either. Oh, no. It's McCavity. There's no one like McCavity. Something, that's how it goes. Anyway. He's in, and then The Mountain Between Us, Beast, No Good Deed.
I did not realize he worked so much.
Mandela. And then the last one I want to mention. Sorry, 2 more I want to mention. He's in Molly's Game.
He is, yeah.
Bad in that film. Very bad. Does not work. He does not handle the Sorkin dialogue well. The American accent is very bad. He's no chemistry with Jessica Chastain. Very poorly cast. He's just not well cast in that film. And then he's in 3,000 Years of Longing, which he's great in, which is the George Miller movie from 2 years ago with Tilda Swinton, where he plays a genie that Tilda Swinton releases from a bottle and proceeds to have a romance with. And he spends the whole film shrinking and growing and being really large and really small and existing throughout 3 millennia. And he's fantastic in it. He's great. And he's otherworldly, and he's got so much presence, and it's brilliant. So I'm pro. And then he's great in Hijack, and he's great in The Wire. So like I'm pro Idris. His career as a leading man in film has been, I would say, a failure.
Underwhelming. I guess
he just missed. He missed he kept his options open for so long, waiting for Bond to come his way.
Yeah.
And then it passed him by because Daniel Craig wouldn't fuck off. And then he basically then he just aged out of it, and now he's kind of lost in the wilderness. And I think he's better off just probably sticking to TV. But also, stuff as good as Hijack doesn't come along that often, so it's tough.
Yeah, unless he like...
He's obviously...
I don't know, he's someone I think who could like just hit 2 good roles very easily. Like,
yeah, I suppose.
Is he hard to cast?
He is hard to cast. I think he's got a weird mix of face and body. He's a weird mix of Jason Statham and more sensitive actors, you know?
Yeah.
People try and cast him in these Statham-y things, but he's got more interesting stuff going on than that, as you see in 3,000 Years of Longing.
Yeah.
But then don't cast him as a fucking sexy lawyer in an Aaron Sorkin film. Like that's like not good.
Oh, he's wearing the little glasses and he's kind of a nerd.
It's awful. Yeah. Like,
I don't know. Seems like a very nice guy.
Yeah, seems like a lovely guy.
Very normal.
I like him.
Like him a lot.
McConaughey. Biggest film. Do you want to guess how much money his biggest film ever made?
Is it Interstellar?
Yeah.
650?
650. Bang on. Crazy that Matthew McConaughey's biggest film ever made 650.
Yeah.
Interstellar's legacy makes it feel like it made a lot more money than that. Has an outsized presence in the culture.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was considered a little bit of a disappointment.
Oh, yeah. That was true. It didn't make... Inception made more.
Inception made more. Inception did about 750.
Yeah, and
but
Dark
still,
Knight,
Oppenheimer
Dark Knight
made
Rises.
more. Oppenheimer made more money than either of them.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Insane.
That's ridiculous. It's a biopic.
People love the movies,
and it's post COVID. But Oppenheimer, it just.
But it had this weird thing where Oppenheimer was from the director of Inception and Interstellar. Yeah,
those films do very well on streaming, I'd say.
Yeah,
and like. The love of him and of those films is so much stronger with like teenagers now than it was when they came out.
Yeah, like they kind of are like the defining teenage boy poster of the 2010s.
And like of course they are. They're great. And it's like a pity that they didn't, I don't know, like who cares about money? But like it's silly that they didn't make more money. Like if we let's say adjust for inflation of Nolan, Oppenheimer making 950. Well, in that world, Interstellar should be making like $1.5 billion, It's so much more commercial.
Yeah.
It's rated PG-13. Oppenheimer's rated R. It's just...
It's got much more appeal to women as well. It's got Anne Hathaway and Jessica Chastain.
No, Oppenheimer has like... It does have Robert Downey Jr. and Matt Damon in it. It's not a film with it. Like, it's not a Cillian Murphy on his own movie. It does have like huge stars, like bigger stars than these movies do. But anyway, whatever.
But it's also like kind of an unknown going into it, what it's going to be. Whereas this is pretty straightforward.
Sing and Sing 2, he's in, playing a koala bear.
Oh, yeah, that's where he...
The Wolf of Wall, it's called Buster Moon. Great name.
Buster Moon. It's no...
Stacker Pentecost?
Stacker Pentecost.
What were you about to say?
Apocalypse Pentecost.
Right.
I couldn't remember. I knew it was something.
The Wolf of Wall Street, Tropic Thunder, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And then we're in this... These are all of his just like mid-level McConaughey
Fool's
movies.
Gold.
I think Fool's Gold was a flop. No, Fool's Gold made money. Yeah,
Failure to Launch.
Magic Mike, Contact, A Time to Kill, Failure to Launch, Sahara, The Gentleman, Fool's Gold, Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, The Wedding Planner, The Lincoln Lawyer, Rain of Fire, Amistad, Dallas Buyers Club, Mud, White Boy Rick, Free State of Jones, Serenity.
Oh,
you know the plot of Serenity with him and Anne Hathaway, where Jeremy Strong plays the rules. And it turns out that his whole life, he's a tuna fisherman, and it turns out his whole life is a video game that his son built because his parents were dead and he was sad.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate Jeremy Strong wasted his TV good grace by doing The Gentleman.
Yes.
Like if he did something good there, he could have
exactly right. The Gentleman is not a bad film, but Jeremy Strong is very bad in it.
Unfortunately.
Matthew McConaughey, I feel like, does not make much of an impact on The Gentleman. That movie belongs to Hugh Grant and Colin Farrell, who are having a lot of fun.
And Charlie Hunnam, I guess.
Charlie Hunnam's all right in it, yeah. I've only seen it the one time, but it was a good time. I don't know if I have anything else to say about either of these guys, so let's move on to our box office, shall we?
Yeah, anything more to say about the film?
No, it's
any thoughts on the kid?
I thought he was quite boring.
Forgettable, yeah.
It's not, I don't think it's like the worst film ever. I think that there are like fun moments in it, but it is objectively a disaster.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a disaster, it wouldn't be 94 minutes long. That's how you know.
Yeah.
So we'll do the box office. So I do remember this period very well in summer of 2017. I think I remember a poster for this up outside the cinema in Sligo, which tells you a lot about where I was in life at the time.
Oh, yes.
So I'm probably going to get most of these.
This is like summer before you started college?
Yeah. This is the summer I moved to Sligo. Hadn't started college yet. I did go to see a lot of movies, but I was also stuck in Sligo a lot. So, But I think I'm gonna get most of these.
Was this number one? Yes or no?
No, this is like probably number 3.
Number 1.
This is number 1.
No, opened number 1 this weekend.
The fuck?
Yeah.
It wasn't as big of a flop as I thought it was.
It made 19 million first weekend.
Nah, it's not great. That's weird.
Yeah, like
so the movies that came out at 2 or 3
the film
weeks
in
before,
second was in its third week. Then second week, third week. There were
okay. So the movie in second is Dunkirk.
Correct.
Yeah. Weird that wasn't making more than 19 million in its third week. That is
17,
weird.
Yeah.
Dunkirk.
Banger.
Now there's a film we should rewatch soon.
I feel like I've seen Dunkirk more than I've seen any other film.
Maybe you have.
I think that's the only film I've seen twice. No, it's not.
No, you saw
the Mission Impossibles.
Yeah, some other stuff as well. Surely.
Yeah. I think that was the first film I ever went back to watch again.
Yes, I think so.
While it was still on
its
same release cycle.
That's good.
Because the first time I watched it,
we had a very bad experience the first time we watched it.
Yeah,
we had been mugged the night before.
Oh yeah.
So we were sleep deprived and anxious. The sound was horrendous.
Too loud.
We were with like 8 people. We were just kind of manic. I hadn't eaten all day.
I feel like it was out of focus.
It was like a really bad IFI opening day screening that actually like soured my opinion of the IFI for years.
Yeah.
Even though now I really like it again, but it was really bad. It was a bad screening.
Yeah.
They were projecting it on film. I think we were like too. It was one of these just like, I have a repetitive thing with Christopher Nolan films where I get too excited. I go on the first day and it's a terrible experience.
Yeah.
I went to see The Dark Knight Rises, had a fucking panic attack basically because it was so fucking loud.
Yeah.
Like the problem is his films are so loud that if you go see them when you're kind of hysterical, you're gonna get really freaked out.
I'm not as hysterical as you, and I was just
problem.
pissed off. Like,
yeah, I had a very
Tenet was a nightmare as well.
Tenet was the same thing again.
Tenet was a
it's
fucking
happened
nightmare.
to me 3 times. The first, honestly, the reason I loved Oppenheimer so much the first time was because I was like, this is the first time I've had a really good experience watching a Christopher Nolan film in years, where it was like a nice, pleasant environment. In that same room in the IFI that we saw Dunkirk, but it was good that time.
We were also, after just coming off Tenet, I think our expectations were low.
Yeah. I actually had a very good experience watching Interstellar when it came out as well. But I had very bad experiences with Rises, Tenet, and Dunkirk. Anyway, so that's number 2.
Do you know what number 3 is?
Is it a movie to which there is a sequel in cinemas right now?
Not that I'm aware of, and I hope not.
Okay, no, it's not.
Oh, buddy, this is a 1.2 star rating overall on.
Is it science fiction?
Letterboxd. You've a review here. Let's read it.
Okay, I have a vague idea of what it is.
There's a weirdly charming commitment to advertising Dropbox.
Is it a comedy?
You call it slightly less abhorrent than something else.
Wow. Is it a comedy?
Yeah. You give it 1 star.
A 1-star comedy in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
What on earth? American comedy.
Slightly less abhorrent than other film in that its intentions are clear from the onset and there's a weirdly charming commitment to advertising Dropbox.
Is the other film going to give it away to me? What it is?
It'll reveal the genre and the target audience.
Go ahead. I'm not going to get
Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Oh, so it's the Emoji Movie.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. The Emoji Movie is definitely less abhorrent than Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is more honest about its intentions.
It's just an ad?
Like, it's just an ad. Whereas Ralph Breaks the Internet is like, this is about friendship, but it's an ad. Like, I don't know. I found Ralph Breaks the Internet to be more
Oh, God.
sneaky.
Absolute nightmare voice cast on this.
So it's TJ Miller.
James Corden.
Patrick Stewart is the poop emoji. I think Maya Rudolph.
Okay, Anna Faris.
Anna Faris, Maya Rudolph.
They're fine. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, TJ Miller.
Stephen Wright.
No.
Sofia Vergara, Patrick Stewart.
Oh yeah, Sofia Vergara plays like the sexy dancing Spanish dancer lady.
Of course.
There's some good casting, but
Jeff Ross.
Yeah, the fact that TJ Miller is the lead tells you all you need to know about that film. And it's, that was the first film they ever showed in the United Arab Emirates in cinemas.
Why?
Well, because they opened that week that it came out.
There was no cinema in the UAE before that.
I don't think so. Not showing American films anyway.
Okay.
It might have been the first American film they ever let show. Yeah.
All right. Do you know what's up next?
Is there a sequel to it out at the moment?
I don't think so.
I'm going to keep asking that.
It's not Twister, no.
No, not Twister.
I know it's not Twister.
What, give me a clue.
Could potentially... Oh, maybe not. Could be a boy party.
Atomic Blonde?
No, that's there though somewhere.
That could potentially be a boy party.
Could be a... I don't know if anyone you'd consider these people big enough for this to be a boy party.
It's not American Assassin, no.
No, it's more of it's an ensemble of like 4 actresses.
Women?
Yeah.
Is it, it's one of the two. It's either Girls Trip or Rough Night.
It's Girls Trip.
Yeah, I've never seen Girls Trip. I don't really have any interest in seeing it, but Tiffany Haddish almost, I would say, got like an Oscar nomination.
Regina Hall, Queen Latifah,
if she didn't.
Jada Pinkett Smith, and Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah, Tiffany Haddish was so renowned for her performance in that.
Yeah.
Like she was getting supporting actress wins. Like I don't know what she does in it that's so great, but she's never.
Worth the watch.
Worth Maybe. It was such a big hit. That movie made so much money. Yeah. And Rough Night came out right around the same time with Scarlett Johansson, which is a very similar premise. And Girls Trip just ate its lunch. Rough Night made no money.
Fair
enough.
It
was like fair play. Like the Black movie did better. Like it was like, because those are actresses who often will star in films that don't really go beyond the numbers that like a black comedy will do, like a Tyler Perry level hit. And that film did like way more. So it's impressive.
I kind of want to watch it.
Regina Hall's great. I love her. Support the girls.
Yes, Support the Girls is very good.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is a horror.
Okay.
Oh, this has a fun tagline.
Okay.
It is Vengeance is Mom.
Vengeance is Mom.
Vengeance is Mom. 3 words. Vengeance is Mom.
Some weird food noises over there. I don't know. Is it about Annabelle?
No, it stars Halle Berry.
Vengeance is Mom. I don't know what this is.
This is Kidnap.
I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is. That sounds so made up.
Halle Berry's
made
up. A mother in her minivan stops at nothing to recover her kidnapped son.
Incredibly made up movie.
There you go.
Okay.
Fake movie.
All right.
Next up,
I'm not as good at this
the
as I thought I was.
Marvel one of the year.
The what?
The Marvel film of the year.
The Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next up, we have a film we've already mentioned, a DL movie.
A DL?
David Leitch.
Oh, Atomic Blonde. Very good film.
Next up, I have to look this up because I don't know what it is.
Well, the reason I keep asking about the sequel that's out at the moment is because I assume War for the Planet of the Apes is in here somewhere.
Potentially.
Because I want to see that the week before Dunkirk, so.
Okay, next up is a film you haven't seen.
Okay.
A famous female director.
Sophia?
Nope.
Detroit?
Yes, it's Detroit.
Yeah. Haven't seen that. No interest. That is just a fucking Jesse Plemons, John Boyega sandwich of a movie. I can't bring myself to watch it.
Police raid in Detroit in 1967 results in the largest.
John Boyega plays Stacker Pentecost's son in Pacific Rim 2.
Yes, War for the Planet of the Apes comes next.
Yeah.
Can you list the order of the Apes movies?
Yeah. Well, from the start.
Oh, well, just from the James Franco.
Well, that's easy. It'd be more fun to try and do it from the start.
War of the Rise of the Planet
Let me do it from the start. No, let me do it. Let me try and do it from the start.
On.
But you need to pull up a list.
Oh, that's too much effort.
No, it's not. All right, so we're starting off with Planet of the Apes.
Correct.
Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Correct.
Right now. Conquest for the Planet of the Apes?
Incorrect. That's the 4th one.
Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
Incorrect. That's the 5th one.
Shit. So there's one in between.
What would you try to do?
Return to the Planet of the Apes?
No, they haven't left yet.
They haven't left yet.
How do you leave?
Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Escape from Planet of the Apes.
Then Conquest. Then Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Right.
Now we're up to 2001.
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes.
Okay, then.
Now we're up to
This is easy.
2011.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think I did a good job.
Yeah, no, they're all correct.
I think I did a good job.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. Every movie had to have Rise in the name, and then every movie had to have Dawn in the name.
I guess.
I think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is just slightly too many letters. Kingdom is too long of a word to be put in before Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
The word needs to be 4 letters or less. Like fucking Conquest. Are you messing with me?
Like does dawn become before sunrise, or is dawn the period when the sun is rising?
Sorry. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes makes no sense.
No, not at all.
It should come before Rise. Everyone agrees.
Yeah.
It's a terrible title, but it was just the word dawn was in vogue in 2014.
Sure.
And the word Rise was in vogue in 2011, 2012. War is a way better title than Dawn. Like
War for the Planet of the Apes.
that's a good name. And then Kingdom.
The battle was already used up. Conquest was used up.
I don't know what they'll do next after Kingdom. Like they could do
Empire of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, they could use Empire. They can any word that gets used.
Fall of the Planet of the Apes.
Fall of the Planet of the Apes. End of the Planet of the
Party
Apes.
of the Planet of the Apes.
Huh?
Party time of the Planet
Party
of
of
the
the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cannot bring myself to go to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I consider going this evening, and it's 2.5 hours long. I just can't do it. I can't do it. If it was under 2 hours, I'd go.
Yeah.
I liked Planet of the Apes. I love monkeys. They're great. I can't go see that film. I'm going to watch that shit on TV. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Too long and no human actors in it. So I'm sorry. That's it for Boy Party, folks. Shockingly, one of our longer episodes. Well,
we rambled a bit.
We've gone over 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We've rambled.
Almost as long as the film.
Yeah, almost as long as the film. Jesus Christ, more than half a length.
Dark Tower. Don't watch Dark Tower. It's not worth it.
Do not watch it. This episode is better enjoyed out of context anyway, I would say. We'll be back very soon. You can visit boypartypod.com. Follow Boy Party Pod on Instagram and Twitter.
Please do not resist our magics that make you come back and listen to our next episode.
Yeah, do not. And get home safe. Text us when you're there. Bye-bye.